Hi boys and girls, we're going to start a new project in Photoshop, so look for your blue PS icons and give it a double click. From there, just File, New, and we're going to create a new name for our document, which is based on your name, your initial, your grade, and the project code is going to be TC1 for Texture Collage 1. Make sure that it's in inches and your width and height and resolution are the same as I have here, and press OK. It'll create a nice big white page for you, and I would recommend going to this bottom right corner of that page and making it big enough so that you block out the rest of your screen to keep you from getting distracted. Also, make sure that you have this layers area, and you could, if you don't have it, you could go to Windows and click layers to bring it up. Next, we're going to go to Safari or Chrome. You're going to go to Google and you're going to type in something that you think of that has a texture. For example, zebra fur. Now, if I just type in pictures of zebras and look at images of zebras, they're all going to be of the entire zebra. So yeah, there's fur in there, but it's so small that the viewer of our artwork is not really going to be able to appreciate it. We want close-ups and textures. So we want to give the feeling that you can actually feel our picture when we're done. So I'm going to be specific and type in zebra fur. Now, even though I've typed in zebra fur, undoubtedly a print is going to come up. This is an example of a print right here. So although we would love pink zebras, we will be able to add our own colors to the artwork at the very end. So that's something that we don't want to worry about now. And also, this is a print which makes it flat, and if I felt it, it would feel smooth. I want it to have a texture, like fur. So I'm going to go back and see what fur I can find. There are a few things that we want to stay away from. This is a blanket, by the way, which also has a print. So we don't want to pick up a blanket. And we also, just like our other projects, want to stay away from things that have logos or what's called watermarks on them, because we know they're owned by somebody else. Even if it just has something down here that's saying it's owned by somebody else, we shouldn't use it, because that's a professional who wants to sell their product, not give it away for free. We also want to avoid pictures that have things in it that we don't want. So we'd have to erase all this. This is not a good example of what we want. This is somebody else's artwork. We don't want that. And we want to stay away from things that includes eyes, because first of all, eyes are smooth. They don't have a real texture that we can feel. And we want to focus on the feeling of the animal, not the actual animal. So with a little hard looking, I could find something that meets all that criteria, and I could find some zebra fur. Here I see one, but it looks as if, it doesn't look out of focus here. It looks relatively clear, but I could see that these numbers are small, which means when I try and stretch it in Photoshop, it's probably going to become pixelated. If you want to specifically look for pictures that are larger so that they'll be nice and clear, you can go to the size here and press large. That's going to sort out or weed out some of the things that we don't want. Okay, this is clearly a picture of zebra fur. It looks nice and big. There are no watermarks. I'm going to move Safari over and click and drag this image directly into my art page there. And we can see that it is huge. If I press Command T and then follow it with Command 0, you can see that my transformation box already showed up. Follow it by Command 0 and we can see the whole page here. So now we can grab it and you could shrink it. If I hold Shift at the same time as completing my transformation, it'll keep it in proportion. So it doesn't end up too fat or too thin. It'll end up just in proportion of what we had. And so I'm going to put it somewhere on my page and press return. Now if I didn't press return here, by the way, let's pretend I forgot. I'm going to go and look up my next object, which this time I think I'm going to try a cheese grater. And I'm going to type in close-up because I don't want the whole cheese grater. I want a close-up of the texture on it. Alright, so here's some images right here. Let me click images to make sure I think that's the best one. And alright, it looks like a large enough image. It's over 500 in both of the numbers. So now I'm going to try and grab this cheese grater and throw it into my piece, and I can't. It's because this transformation box is still open. So if I press return while I'm in Photoshop and then try and move it in, suddenly you'll find that it works. Okay, this one is a pretty good size. I might transform them just a little bit more. With my move tool selected, if I have my auto select and the options bar clicked, that's going to allow me to jump between layers, and whichever thing that I grab, it'll automatically go to the layer. So if you're watching on the layer panel now I can click the cheese grater, and then I'll immediately click the zebra, and you can see that it shifts between layers for me. So having that auto select checked is a great way to make this project quick and easy. By the way, if I want all of my work to fill the screen, I just press Command 0 and that brings it full page to size. Command 0 also worked to make the page look smaller before because we had a large object within the page that was larger than the page itself. So when you're transforming something huge, or ginormous as I like to call it, you want to transform that by going to Command T first so your box pops up, which you may not even be able to see if it's really large, and then Command 0, and then you'll be able to see the whole thing so that you can make it the size that you need. Then Command 0 again, and it'll bring you to this nice full page. It's also important to mention that, as you can see here, I don't have a theme. I did something natural and something man-made. And now I'm going to some other man-made objects for my textures. So you could have a theme if you want, but you don't have to have a theme. You could pick things that are unrelated to. Command T to make it the size that I want. Okay, so now that we have 3 different textures on our page at the same time, this is a good time to talk a little bit more about layers. We've already experienced layers in previous projects, but I wanted to show that let's pretend that I was going to use all these 3 images together. You can see that I have the cheese grater on top, the basketball in the middle, and the zebra in the back. And behind that, of course, I have my white page. And that's all illustrated here. Let's pretend that I wanted my cheese grater to go behind my basketball. I can just grab that layer and click it down. By the way, I'm on my Move tool. If I wanted my zebra to go all the way to the top, I could just bring that all the way up to the top and put it between, these layers, the top of the layer panel and the layer of the basketball. And when I drop it, that's exactly where they are. So that's the first step I wanted to show you. When you're creating your collage, it's okay if things overlap because you're not losing that thing. It's still there. We have 3 separate pictures and 3 separate layers, and that should help you because I'm about to tell you that in total you need about 10 textures to be able to work on your picture. So that's what we want to do. We want to collect 10 different pictures of close-ups of textures that look like we can feel them and start putting them all in our page. Another command that I haven't brought up yet today is Command S. Every time you do something cool, you should press Command S. If I have not saved this before, this may pop up. Just press Save.